Welcome back to another episode of Love of Pages, Geek Elite Media's virtual book club, where we all get together and, I'm going to say it for this week, torture each other.
What?
Book selection.
Oh.
What?
Oh.
You hear that, Keith? She said you tortured her because it wasn't me.
Yeah, no, it can't be your fault, Stephen, even though you're the one who assigned it. So, every week, well, this month, every week we have done a different Sherlock Holmes book. I'm Elizabeth, and I'm joined as always by Naimah.
Hello.
Jessica.
Hello.
And Stephen,
That's me.
who is the prime Spanish Inquisitor today. So,
No one expects it.
So today we are covering a book that could only be consumed via Audible, well, or audiobook at the least, by Neil Gaiman, called A Study in Emerald. So, before we jump into this, beverages for tonight to round out our Sherlock Holmes. The drink choice Naimah and I are doing is called something mess.
It's called, Another Fine Mess, yeah.
Another fine mess. Yes, another fine mess.
Like
Another fine mess, which I have consumed about half of mine, which is part of my problem. But it is equal parts whiskey and tequila with some orange liqueur, bitters, and sweet vermouth. Naimah very graciously topped hers with an orange slice.
that
because
I
she's
ate.
classy like that. It might have taken us a few minutes to get this recording started
Yeah.
tonight. And Jessica, you did a twist on a whiskey drink. What are you drinking tonight?
I did a lemon old fashioned. So it's an old fashioned, but instead of orange with lemon, because that's what I had fresh of. And I make my old fashions with the sugar cubes, like the ye olden times. Sugar cubes.
Again,
did you
'cause she's
pour?
fancy.
Did you pour the alcohol over the sugar cube, or is it just a drop of sugar cube?
Well,
in there?
so what you do is I put a slice of lemon, like a little circle of lemon on the bottom, a sugar cube on top, and I soak it with like 2 drops of bitters, and then you muddle it, and then you just pour whiskey over it, add ice. That's all you have to do, and it's great. A solid way
Or
to
if
drink
you're
whiskey.
lazy like me, when you do old fashions, you get the pre-candied orange slices from Trader Joe's and put those in the bottom.
Yeah, that also works too.
And Stephen, since you so obstinately rejected barley tea as used for mocktails, what are you drinking tonight?
I have the return of the Kirin bottled tea. And then
for all of this.
it's so good, but I'm drinking out of a fancy drink glass.
Proud of you. Proud of you. So, the book.
The book.
Mm-hmm.
The torture, apparently.
Yeah, I'm lost on this one. I feel like everyone else here is probably going to have a different opinion of this one.
I mean, it was fine, but it was also like, it was so weird that I was like, I don't understand why this is necessary. So, it is, I will give it this, it is true to the style of a traditional Sherlock short in terms of sentence structure and style of conversation, all of those things. It is a twist on the Study in Scarlet, very clearly. I'm getting the impression the royalty, so the difference is the body, instead of being an American, is a German prince
Yes.
who was the guest of Queen Victoria.
Instead of the person from the original story A Study in Scarlet.
Correct. Instead of the traditional story, A Study in Scarlet. So I'm just doing the juxtaposition for the two.
Mm-hmm.
And our narrator is an Afghan war vet, but was tortured.
Yeah.
And I'll get to why I'm saying this later, but was tortured in Afghanistan and suffered an injury on his arm. Ended up meeting up with the consulting detective. Again, we don't get names throughout the entirety of the story. And we do get Detective Lestrade, who brings them this case. And then they go to... And the main character asks the narrator, have you ever seen a royal? And the description of the dead body gets very confusing.
Yeah, that's where it takes a turn. Up until then, you could be expected to think like, oh, there's going to be maybe some changes and things in some other way. But then they describe that, and it's not a man.
I feel like there was something before that, too, because I think my first hint that there was something extraordinary about this was when Watson was describing his time in Afghanistan, and he said she got her suckers on me or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that was before the dead body, and I was like,
yeah,
suckers.
And I think this is where I have the struggle, because I get the impression, I'm guessing royalty are some sort of aliens or something.
So the thing for this, it's not so direct, I think, in the writing of this, but looking into a little bit more after the fact, it's apparently an eldritch horror kind of thing. So it's a Cthulhu kind of business.
Okay.
Cthulhu's.
Yeah.
So,
Which also informs
I think
the emerald part.
Makes sense. I guess my problem is because it's not direct and I am not an auditory learner, I got very lost as, like, I'd catch pieces and I'm like, well, that sounds odd. And then I'd keep going and then I'd go, wait. And I'd have to turn it back to actually listen again and really try and figure out what the heck's going on. Whereas if I could actually have read it, I think I would have picked up on those subtleties, because they don't directly state that the body is not human.
They say
And
they say not human early on when he's describing the situation to I guess to Lestrade in this. He says something. He says not human. I can bring up a PDF if you want. It is apparently available as text in something.
that would have been very helpful.
But no. The whole
I
thing for
did
this
not
one was
get the-
supposed to be that it was supposed to be an audio thing. That's how it's keeping it in my wheelhouse for this one.
But in any case, so I struggled. And then they went to go see Queen Victoria, which is where I kind of caught on that, like, royalty is some sort of something else. And it was very kind of odd and unsettling. It was just too weird.
I think in you saying that it's odd and unsettling, like Neil Gaiman would be like, "Yes, did it."
But it made it unenjoyable for me. That's the problem. Is it was too unsettling that, like, a lot of his stuff is unsettling, but I still enjoy it. And this, because it's so short and because it's not descriptive enough about what's going on, I couldn't follow, and it made me uncomfortable that I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. Because Sherlock Holmes books are already hard to follow because you don't get anything until the very end.
Yeah, until Sherlock decides you get something.
And so then when you add in these otherworldly elements, but don't describe them sufficiently to, like, kind of red flag me that they're otherworldly, at least auditorily, it didn't. It kind of got glossed over to me. Like, it could have, their description of the dead body to me could have just been kind of like a Criminal Minds, oh, they really, like, destroyed the body. Like, to me, I didn't catch the first time. I didn't catch that it was supposed to be something other than human.
Interesting.
Until it got to the end where he looks at the narrator and says, you've never seen a royal before, have you? And I was like, why the heck would that matter? Like, it's a dead body. Who cares? Like,
no, because he said that the blood color was different in there.
Yeah, he said it was ichor, like in color, which to me meant God.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah.
When he first said it, I was like, oh, is it supposed to be like, well, I mean, you can tell from looking at the blood that they're like inbred because, I mean, the blood's bad. Like, that's where I was first going with it. But then.
Yeah, I was like, oh, the blood's diseased. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, again, because I'm not reading it, because I'm listening to it, I gloss over a lot of those things. So, I don't catch those things.
Throw this into like a perspective I think kind of makes sense. It's as if someone tried to like just narrate a Doctor Who episode to me without showing me what's happening, because you can introduce a character that's got suckers on it or looks kind of weird, but without actually describing what it looks like, you actually don't get the full picture of it. And I think, I don't know, just while reading this one, I don't think I was paying that much attention to the other than stuff. Like, it was there, but it wasn't like in your face. Like, it was just background noise. Like, yeah, they're not, human. Yeah, the queen is some grotesque looking thing that it like stumps the narrator like in his shoes that, the consultant has to come and drag him up closer. And then there's there was like a specific word choice that he used when it's like he was talking to the consultant, but like from like her brain directly to his, and so he couldn't hear it.
He said that like she spoke but without words, and so he was wondering if they were having some kind of just like mental like telepathic exchange.
I think the other kind of disconnect for me was the use of the time appropriate historical names for the royalty. So then I was like, wait, so are they supposed to just seem off because royalty always seems off? Or like,
you never know, this could be Neil Gaiman's commentary on royalty.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I'm sure that's exactly what it is. I'm sure that's exactly what it is.
They're a great beast that like took over.
And then there's nothing. They just go to a play. And
very nevers. All your answers come from a play.
Yeah, all your answers kind of come from a play. Essentially, where he gets the tobacco, discovers one of the culprits, walks the narrator through the information, and you find out that the limping doctor is Watson. One of the murderers is Watson. And then we close out because they escape. They're part of something called, is it Regeneration?
Resurrectionists.
Yeah.
Resurrectionists.
Yeah, a movement of people who want to dethrone the old gods who have become the new royalty.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
But except the Resurrectionists want to go back to the time before the new royalty.
Yeah,
which is where
they want to restore. They want to restore humanity's freedom, where these great beasts that have become the rulers of humanity, who returned like cicadas are right now, and then took over. They took over the thrones of all these different countries. They want to get rid of them and let humanity be humanity.
Thank you for that lovely visual. And now all I imagine is a queen being a giant cicada. I'm never going to get that out of my brain.
Yes, a giant.
So then we come to find out, so the narrator signs off as SM, which is Sebastian Morin.
Yeah.
I think he's a general or lieutenant.
Colonel.
Colonel, he is more in the traditional Sherlock Holmes, he's Moriarty's Watson.
Right.
Yeah.
Which makes us, leads us to believe that the consulting detective in this is Moriarty.
Well, it makes sense. The short limping man,
Sherlock.
The tall man, the kind of, I guess, cheeky response that the letter was like, haha, you thought you could
Here's my problem.
Hmm.
Sherlock is not a good actor in any versions of Sherlock.
True, but I think
is oh my gosh, Basil of Baker Street, fantastic actor.
Terrible actor. Terrible.
But I think the thing that got me about it was like this whole time they were leading up with this character basically being Sherlock. And then you get to the end and he doesn't actually catch the guy, which at first I thought was like, that's the first
priority.
Yeah, like they normally want to wrap it up with Sherlock getting the guy. Sherlock figuring it out but not winning isn't sort of the trope we're used to. But then it's just like, but it wasn't Sherlock, and the reason he lost is because he was going up against Sherlock, and that's inevitable. So like Moriarty doesn't win against Sherlock. It's just it's not done.
Honestly, the part for me that was the biggest stretch, because I was on board for the other stuff, even though I usually am very against the eldritch horror thing, like I just can't be made to care about that ever.
Listen, it's such a big thing that's happening now. They addressed it in Sabrina. It's everywhere.
And every time they bring it up, I check right out.
Here's my thing about it. I think so. I would have been fine with the eldritch horror if it had if it had been relevant.
Yeah,
it didn't.
It was
seem
background noise.
Relevant, and it wasn't given enough description for me to actually readily recognize what was going on. Like, I get the impression that unless you're really into that stuff, you're not going to catch that on the first read through, listen through.
The thing for me with this one, what I was going to say is that the thing that bugged me the most was the double use of the Ratch part, but that one was weird, but also a stretch. Probably the original kernel for the idea, but this whole thing reads like a pitch for something more. This is like a taste to get someone to pay you to make more.
Honestly, I don't know that that's not what Neil Gaiman did, where he was like, I want to write a Sherlock thing. And then
I mean, he said that he knows the name of the next book for this, and he's ready to do it if it should happen. But this was written in 2006, so
that's never happened. Don't tease that. That's just rude.
Because my thing is, to me, it reads kind of like an opening blog for a fan fiction website.
I understand that one.
That to me is what it feels like.
Oh, God damn. If anybody said that about my writing, I just grovel.
It turned into popular novels. And I'm not saying good novels. I am saying popular. So.
Yeah. No,
I could see where this becomes popular. I could.
Oh, yeah.
If they made it, I wouldn't watch it. Like, after reading this, sure.
I would.
But if someone just tried to tell me the idea of the show existing, I'd be so far from caring.
I think I'd like the show better.
I'd watch the show. I'd watch the show.
I'd watch the show, yeah.
A complete, especially if Neil Gaiman's still involved, because all of his books, TV shows so far, I very much like. I just, but
I think, go ahead.
No, it's just I don't even think that it's audiobook in format. I think even reading it, even if it was just like, I don't even know how long 40 minutes would be in pages. Like, I tried to think of it like 7.
75.
It'd be 30.
If you're writing for well, never mind, I take it out. That's with actions also. I was going to try to translate page length to minutes for a show, but that's including actions.
So I read faster than they talk, so it would be shorter for me.
But like that the thing, I was just like, I don't think I would have been engaged as much. Like, I really did like it. Like, I did appreciate like that it was 40 minutes. It's kind of like, if you wanted, like, it's kind of like a little candy. Like, if you want a little candy of like a weird Neil Gaiman meets Sherlock thing, there it was. That's it. And that's all you really get from it. But like, if this was something that was like I had and I like bought and I was like, yeah, let me suggest this to someone, I'd be really angry at page 30 something. And I'm like, and it's over. Like, that's like, and it just ended. Like, we didn't get to the part like, well, why is the eldritch horror there? What is this thing? Like, there's so many other avenues to dive into and so much more that Sherlock can investigate, and it just wasn't there. But it's also a little tidbit. It was just candy. It was a piece.
I guess we didn't say at the jump. Like, I liked it. You said you liked it, Naimah.
Jessica?
I liked it. Yeah. I wanted it to be Fae instead of Eldritch, but I
would have
liked
accepted
it.
that.
I feel like Fae makes more sense, but
I am happy to be the dissension vote.
oh yeah.
Not a problem. Because honestly, I think I like the premise because I'm with Naimah. It sounds a lot like Doctor Who. Like it does. It's Sherlock meets Doctor Who, and I'm like, I could roll with this.
Yeah.
I could not get behind the execution, and it may have been for me because of the way I absorb information, the way I take things in. It may be the audio version did not get it across for me.
Mm.
It may be that even written because there wasn't a lot of expounding or description or relevance to the twist. Because to me, I think to really appreciate this, you have to be like neck deep interested in the Eldritch horror and neck deep interested in Sherlock Holmes. Because unless you know Sherlock Holmes, I don't think SM would have registered for.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Oh yeah, no, it wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Like you have to really know, because like you'd catch Moriarty.
But I mean,
not everybody would catch Moriarty, but
this audiobook requires prior studying.
Yeah, I would say that criticism for this, I think is absolutely true, but also absolutely no one who's just looking for a story is going to stumble across this one. You have to be in the perfect middle ground for the Venn diagram that is this story to go find it.
I know where that Venn diagram is. That is like a modern, like, meets classic literature class with a very eccentric professor. That's just like, listen, what I know all of you youngsters like yourself, some like Neil Gaiman, American Gods and all that stuff. Look what I found. And it's just like,
so what you're
I would do a whole class bake off of this.
What you're telling me is that this book was written by Neil Gaiman for his English class that he teaches at some college.
Hey, you can sign up for that. That's a master class. I keep getting those YouTube ads for him.
Listen, I really would, except I don't have any desire to write anything because I will be bad at it. But I could just listen to Neil Gaiman talk all day long.
Yeah, it's serious. Honestly, like ever since like the first time that when I was younger and I got, oh goodness, I forget the name of it right now, Stardust. I was like, I'm in.
Yep.
I have the illustrated version with the illustrations by Charles Vess, where it actually is written and shown like it's a children's story. It's good. That's good. But it's very good. I recommend it completely. Okay. I had tidbits for things.
Oh, please.
Yes.
For this one, we talked about the stuff that's directly related to this story here. We've already gone over that stuff about who, like, the character turn at the end is. The other thing that I wanted to bring up was I learned a little fact about a Lupin series. So
so this was the fact I was supposed to remind you of. Okay.
Yeah. So this one in the last episode we had talked about the actual criminal Arsène Lupin. Mm-hmm. In that same episode, I had mentioned the anime Lupin the Third, because Lupin the Third is like a descendant of Lupin and everything. I learned something this week.
What?
There was supposed to be this whole big push to make a new adaptation of Lupin. It was supposed to be, I think, Lupin the Eighth was supposed to be the name of it. They animated one episode of it. There were supposed to be several. Only one got made because of different legal disputes and some other stuff like that. So, because of this thing, they didn't take it over the finish line, and the production got split into two parts. They they made that one the little bit of it that became connected to the actual Lupin the Third series. It was Lupin the Third Part 3, which is very short. Okay. And then the other half of that production was one that was done with the U.S. It became Inspector Gadget.
Da-na-na-na. Whoa!
Yeah.
But Inspector Gadget is not a criminal.
He's not a Cribbage.
Oh yeah.
No.
Everyone said it at the same time, like they processed the
Yeah.
9 really quickly in their head and went, wait.
Wait, no.
Yeah. No, I think I have a whole bunch of thoughts on this one, but he's literally made to be toys. That's what happens when you give an idea to the US and say, well, we couldn't do anything with this, so you guys are free to do what you want. Here you go.
Look at
Franchise.
off.
Merchandising.
No, like,
So yeah,
Yeah.
good thing though, but he's nothing even in the same vein. He's not Sherlock
Nope.
universe, universe. He's over there.
he's very weird.
And I like Inspector Gadget, but
I do
he's
like
not
it.
Arsène
It's
Lupin.
fun, but he's not Arsène Lupin.
I just wanted to share that fact.
I like
That is a
we
very
should have book
interesting fact.
facts. Yeah.
Book fact.
Wow.
See, I don't know. At the end of it all, do you guys think that you would recommend this?
Oh yeah.
People who like Neil Gaiman, yes.
Yeah, to people who like Neil Gaiman, because that's the other thing is, I'm not a huge Neil Gaiman fan in general.
I'm kind of with you on this one. Where the things that I like, if I like a kernel of it, I'm very here for it. But if I don't like that first kernel, I'm not going to start to care the more of it I get.
I think I've selectively chosen which Neil Gaiman things I do like partake in. So there's probably something out there I wouldn't like. I would never encounter this.
I could tell you I haven't read all of Neil Gaiman. I tried Sandman, I think.
Yeah.
And couldn't get into it.
Sandman is also a thing that has like 40 different points of entry, and it's very easy to pick the wrong one for you.
Yeah. And actually, man, I tried, like, I spent, I want to say 2019 at this point, because I don't remember what year it is.
Yeah, I think it's 2019.
To catch up on, like, all of the series. So, like, all of, like, my coworkers were just buying me the volumes of the comics. Like, here's 1, here's 2, here's 3. Did you finish it yet? And I'm like, no. I work 70-hour week. No, but like, yeah, we're like catching up on it. I like Sandman. I don't think I can say I like Sandman as much as I like Good Omens, as much as I like American Gods. Like, like other things of his that I think just go much deeper. And Sandman is his baby, of course.
Yeah.
Like Steven's heard my rant about him and
Terry Pratchett. Now, don't speak ill of Terry Pratchett. The world's biggest Terry Pratchett fan is the one who suggested this book. And he'll be so hurt if you say bad things about Terry Pratchett that he has to listen to.
I have nothing
great
to say about the dead. Besides that, you know, maybe don't throw a whole fit because Neil Gaiman got a bit more credit for stuff because he did some other things. That's all I gotta say. Is he seemed to throw a huge little fit about Neil Gaiman getting slightly more attention than him, and that made me mad. But I mean,
feels like a whole Mank thing again. But, Jessica, what did you say? You said you'd recommend it to people, yes?
I would. Specific people that I know. I actually might recommend it to somebody like this week. Mainly because it's only like... Huh?
Is it going to be John? John loves that eldritch shit.
John is it, but also I feel like my best friend Lexi, who likes Sherlock and weird, crazy things, would also like this, especially since it's 45 minutes, and she loves audiobooks. So, but yeah, John may like this too.
For me to recommend it, it would have to be a very particular person, and there's not anybody off the top of my head in my list that I think would be all over this.
Mm-hmm. I think I would recommend people go listen to it like for free on YouTube or something, because it's out there in apparently all the ways. So
I'll try your library app.
It's true.
Almost all libraries are now interconnected through some application.
I think for me, the part that I appreciated about this, Stephen, was it was only 45 minutes, so I was able to listen to it twice over my lunch hour. So I was actually able to catch what was going on the second time through. Maybe that's part of my problem, is having to have listened to it twice. And it wasn't, I bought it on Audible, and it was $3.48. So
yeah, it was nice and cheap.
Yeah,
I do want to do an audiobook again. I think I have to find a thing that's best taken in through audiobooks, which in retrospect might have been the best way to take in the down days.
I mean, Water Dancer was really great. Like, I did that it's just, I think it's narrator, and like if you find a really good narrator, then you just have a good audiobook because the writing's done for them already. They have to sell it.
Audiobooks aren't for everybody, and that's okay.
The problem is I really like audiobooks when I'm driving,
Mm-hmm.
but I like audiobooks that I can get at a superficial level. I don't want to have to think about the audiobook because I'm not going to pick up on all the little things.
I'm gonna tell you, drama will save your life. They're like audiobooks, but they put all the climax stuff very loud in your face and all around you, so it's impossible to miss the type of things that you're like, wait a second, we're gonna crash the car while I try to listen to this one.
Oh yeah.
Good.
I will say I've liked a few audiobooks, but I think I might be very picky if it's in first person, told from that first person, because the absolute remarkable whatever. Oh my gosh, every time.
Is the Hank Green the first book?
The Hank Green
put out?
the first book that Hank Green put out.
Is it absolutely
because it was
remarkable thing?
in an absolutely remarkable thing. Yes, it is. It's in that main character's point of view, and she became so real to me because the narrator actually was really great, and so she was such a real person. And I found myself arguing with her in my car, like straight up yelling at her for being stupid, and I got way too connected to the situation. I had to stop reading it because I was like, this dumb bitch, like who can just like, I just wanted to slap her like so bad. It's a great book though. I highly recommend it, but like also like the main character is a trash.
This is true.
Too funny. Any last thoughts on Study in Emerald?
Thank you, Keith.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you.
Keith.
Awesome.
No, it's good to read and listen to books that I don't necessarily enjoy because it's all about the experience. So thank you.
I guess to say to people, like, Sherlock is a very large universe. Like, it's not just like, Benedict Cumberbatch and like cons and like.
I mean,
listen, that is a very large portion of it.
Thank
You
you.
need to be familiar with that part of it, but you don't need to have that be your only interest in Sherlock. You can. There's like other things that you can dive into, like
The Great Mouse Detective.
yeah.
Yes.
Like, I mean, like I was even talking about on the other podcast, Monk. That's just Sherlock. They just made Sherlock OCD and took out most of the fun stuff, So Sherlock's all around you, and that's not creepy at all.
Yeah. I mean, well, you get kind of a balance between Sherlock and Monk with Elementary.
Yep,
That's fair.
They give him some of the fun stuff back.
Or if
Still give him the need for therapy.
if you want exclusively the fun, you can go watch Psych.
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fun.
All right. Any other last thoughts before I throw it over?
That's it.
Okay. So up next, starting the new month, Jessica, what are we reading?
It was requested to me to pick out a bodice buster because I do romance novels. I wanted one that had plot though, so I went with my go-to. One of my favorite authors is Nora Roberts because she has some really good romance with some really strong female characters and also a lot of plot. So I kind of looked through. I tried really hard because I like her trilogies the most. So I made sure not to pick a trilogy, though.
Let's just face it. You love trilogies, period.
I mean, it's just it comes from being like a young adult reader where everything is just going to be a trilogy because they can't finish anything in one book. But I'm going back to one I absolutely loved. It came out in 2011, and it's called Chasing Fire. And it's about smoke jumpers. So the main characters are smoke jumpers, which are these very special set of firefighters that they actually like jump from a plane into a forest fire, which is where I like it because my dad's a firefighter, and and then it's Nora Roberts, so it has really spicy, Chasing Fire right there, really spicy romance and also really awesome plot. So Chasing Fire by Nora Roberts will be our next book.
I was wondering,
Yes.
would Patricia Briggs, like Mercy Thompson books count as bodice busters at all?
I think they do. Yes.
Okay.
I don't love Patricia Briggs, but I think they do. I think if it's anything that has like, to me, a bodice buster is anything where, honestly, the sex is unrealistic. But like,
so all sex writing,
where it's like too good. Yeah, basically all sex writing, but like it's set and they end up together in the end. To me, that's a bodice buster. Like, just
I have read the Patricia, like I've read the Mercy Thompson books.
The sad part is if they end up together in the end is what became the unrealistic part. I was like, anything else is like, and then they end up together. Impossible.
Well, I think that's the other thing that has to happen is like they have to have crazy amount of sex, but then also it's the romance too, so they do end up together. Like,
loves them. It's the whole reason Bridgerton's a TV show right now. So.
I feel like bodice buster, you have to start with them despising each other and then end up with sex.
Oh yeah. That's good loathing to like. Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Oh goodness.
Very exciting.
Join us back in 2 weeks for Nora Roberts, Chasing Fire. I'm personally very excited. Any other last thoughts?
No.
Awesome.
So just be fairies. Why can't it just be fae? They're terrifying. Bring back the fear of fae.
He might have just written something with fairies at the time.
Okay, that's fair.
So this could be just like Neil Gaiman woke up after having a dream and decided to record something.
Cthulhu. Cthulhu's queen. There you go.
Cthulhu. That's okay. That's the whole book. The book is just like the thing on the book plate. It just says Cthulhu is bae. Like that's it.
Cthulhu is bae.
Oh goodness. So Naimah, if people want to come praise the almighty Neil Gaiman, where can they find you?
I am on Instagram as Other Pages, Other Places, and on Instagram as well, and my personal account as Imaginon.
And Jessica, if people want to discuss why they should fear the Fae, where can they find you?
You can find me pretty much everywhere as J.M. Bailey Writes.
And Stephen, if people want to come and discuss the disgusting taste of barley tea, where can they find you?
At a drugstore near you. No, you can find me on Twitter as Peppermint Gent, which is short for Peppermint Gentleman.
And you can find me with the rest of Geek Elite Media at Geek Elite Media and our Facebook page /Geek Elite Media. Archived episodes of this podcast and other podcasts can be found on our website, geekelitemedia.com. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe on whatever podcatcher you use. It helps spread the word about our network and all the fun stuff we're doing. Speaking of spreading, if you have a couple extra dollars and can join us, come on over to the Patreon page. We always are looking to grow that. All sorts of fun and interactive things to do with the members of the Geek Elite Media Network over there. But until next time, this is The Love of Pages, reminding you to keep turning those pages and always remember to
geek out.
Geek out.